January 28th, 2026. Let's start with roll call.
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. I'll begin with Chair Grumbine.
Present.
Vice Chair Uli,
Present.
Commissioner Butler,
Here.
Commissioner Dorden,
Present.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Present.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Here.
and Commissioner Lodge.
Here.
We have quorum. Thank you.
All right. Let's roll into item A, public comment. Any member of the public may address the commission for up to 2 minutes on any subject within our jurisdiction that is not scheduled on this agenda for public discussion. So anyone to publicly comment on something not on the agenda.
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. At this time, I don't have any speaker slips for general public comment, though if anyone in the room would like to speak under general, you can approach the podium at this time. But I'm not seeing any movement towards the podium. I will just remind the audience that if anyone wants to speak under a specific item, that you can fill out a speaker slip attached to the pink clipboard that's on that wall, and you can bring that up to me, and I'll call your name under that item. We do not have any participants online with us at this time, so I will just acknowledge that we received written correspondence from Kathy Mora and give it back to you.
All right, thank you. On to item B, approval of the minutes of Historic Landmarks Commission meeting of January 14th, 2026.
Motion to approve.
All right, I heard, Vice President, do you want to second it? Yeah, Commissioner Butler, second. All right, any edits or comments on the minutes?
But of course. No, I'm just
Commissioner
kidding.
Ansrick.
I'm just kidding. Yes, I do have a couple. One is on page 5, number 2. Number 2. I would like to ask that this be changed a little bit. I think there was some sadness expressed among some of us on the board about the loss of the house, and that a more accurate statement might be, instead of "is not salvageable," I wrote something along these lines. Accepts the determination that the best decision is to allow the home to be demolished and to proceed with the design to provide experience for the public through, and then the way it is written.
Yeah, I think that does capture that it was the best.
It was the best determination, but it
Not
wasn't.
salvageable without, within a reasonable framework.
The way-
It's technically salvageable in some, if we had infinite money.
And
Yeah.
will and everything else. So is that clear, or do you want me to reread that?
Yeah, let's try rereading it again.
I'm saying, accepts the determination that the best decision is to allow the home to be demolished.
We'll call it the structure. 'Cause
Okay.
No one lives there.
Okay. And, am I going too fast?
Yeah.
And to proceed with the design to provide the experience for the public through, and then it,
Improving the park, et cetera.
yeah, right, et
Okay.
cetera.
I think that makes sense.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah. Yeah, so then maybe strike,
Through design.
Strike from but through
lower,
better.
yeah, from on the lower portion, strike, yeah, right after the pink, strike, but believes this is a great opportunity to make it better, yeah. Let's see.
Sorry, there's a lag.
Yeah, through.
I did delete that section. And you wanted to leave the first line, the commission recognizes that the building is not salvageable?
Yeah,
Yes.
the commission accepts, and go right into that, accepts the determination the best decision is to allow the structure to be demolished and to proceed with the decision to provide the experience for the public through improving the park and incorporating the history of the property. I think that's a good refinement of it, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then on number 4, okay, so then at the end, just say the story of the property and consult with experts on this specific history. I think it was mentioned specific, I think I said the natural history, or I mean the historical museum, but certainly
yeah.
could be people like Mr. Clausen and others who,
Pardon my interruption. We'll just need to double check that that was, the first edit is just kind of rephrasing, but the second one is including an additional direction that we need to make sure was included in the motion before we can.
sure.
Okay.
I just know I said to speak with, I said something along the lines of, consult with the experts such as the Historical Museum.
That's fine. We'll just
But-
need to.
okay,
But
sure.
whether you
To-
put it in
Whether
your
it was in
Confirm
the,
the
whether it
recording.
was in the motion is going to be.
Oh, okay,
Because
sure.
it's an additional step. That's a good point. Okay, so they can just check.
Okay.
Staff can check with that.
Okay. And then on page 6, number 2, I need help here. Number 2.
Less leggy isn't
Okay,
clear.
well, no, we use the word bollard. I don't think bollard is the right word, architecturally speaking. A bollard is a thing that stops, but these were more abutments or buttresses or something. What is the right word for
Well,
what?
so I
we're-
think what we're referring to is the fact that it doesn't, they were using the whatever the tire wheel at garages in the 1920s that you, and I think that was the bollard reference is what we were
Yeah,
trying
I
to
know.
describe. They were using that as a design element in a tower, and it felt weird that they were using that bollard-like element in a tower, which is sort of what didn't belong. I think it was very clear to them what it was. that
What we were talking about.
And then if you will listen to the video, it'll be very clear.
I
as
just
we're-
thought for Historic Landmarks Commission that we should use the correct terminology architecturally speaking, but I don't know exactly what it is. I thought one of you might know. But anyway, if, no,
Let's leave it as that, just only because it was, I can't think of I think there may be another term for specifically that element. but,
Yeah.
At least for them, it was clear enough.
they knew what we were talking about.
Unless we think of something better for it, then, yeah.
Yeah, I did a little look and I couldn't find the exact thing, but,
Yeah.
okay, and then finally, on number 11, just very minor, just that we also were looking forward to the colors of the Bates House in the next round,
On which number?
number 11. The Bates House being a restored resource and the colors. They didn't have the
Okay.
colors yet, but they were going to bring them the next time.
Okay.
And
yeah.
since I'm so interested in colors, I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay, that sounds good.
That's all I had. Thanks.
And it will be part of it anyways as they come forward. Okay, any other edits or anything? All right, with those adjustments and direction to staff, are the maker of the motion and the seconder
I'm
good?
good with it.
Coolio.
All right, coolio. All right, then let's have a roll call vote.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Dorden,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Uli,
Yes.
and Chair Grumbine.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, on to item C, approval of the minutes of Historic Landmarks Commission consent meeting of January 14th, 2026. All right, does someone want to make a motion?
Move.
All right,
Second.
Commissioner Butler, Vice Chair Uli, second. All right, under discussion, any questions, discussion of the consent calendar minutes? All good? All right, let's have a roll call vote.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Dorden,
Yes.
Vice Chair Uli,
Yes.
and Chair Grumbine.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
All right. Item D, announcements, requests by applicants for continuances and withdrawals, future agenda items, and appeals. All right.
We'll let Ellen go.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ellen Kokinda, City Planner. Lovely to see you. I just wanted to let you know about a couple of things going on. We are well underway with our second round interviews for the architectural historian position, a really critical position for the Historic Landmarks Commission. We've got some great candidates. Looking forward to wrapping those up in the next week and hopefully getting an offer out very soon. We have Ted Hamilton Roll as our acting design review supervisor, just became a father for the first time, so he is out for the next month. So that's down 2 staffers, and so that means be kind to Heidi while we're in this situation. I also wanted to mention that we are gearing up for our the release of the draft of the San Roque Historic Context Statement and Survey. Actually, Sarah Corder, our consultant, is here in the room, not for this item today, but for something else. But we will be getting that posted, a press release out, our website updated for people to have a sufficient comment period and look at that. We're really pleased with the results, and we really can't wait to share that with you. So we'll also let you know as soon as it's posted so that you have some lead time to review those documents. It won't be just a quick turnaround or anything. And so we've got that lineup coming through. So just some of the fun things coming in, and yeah, just in the meantime, a little understaffed, but we're here to help if you need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kulakinda.
And I have a couple of more announcements, Mr. Chair. More fun things coming. So just a reminder that the National Register nomination, or the hearing for Jimmy's Oriental Gardens and the Chung Family Home to be added to the National Register of Historic Places is on February 6th. 2026. Public comment for the item is due January 30th, 2026, and you can submit your public comment to calshippo@parkca.gov. Let me pull up that email address so you can look at it. So we would love to have some letters on behalf of the commission supporting the nomination. The State Historical Resources Commission meeting, you can find information about it on the schedule and notices page for the CA State Parks website. And then here is the agenda. So you can see that it's on the consent agenda under item A, and we're number 1. So I would love to get some support from the commission on that. And then my next announcement, wrong PowerPoint. My next announcement is also on February 6, 2026, the Cal Poly graduate planning students will return to Santa Barbara to gather community feedback on their initial goals and recommendations in an open house. The students will be set up at City Hall, 735 Anacapa Street, from noon to 2 p.m. in the IT training room, just south of the Anacapa Street entrance to City Hall down the vehicle ramp. Stop by any time during the open house hours to chat with students as they craft goals, recommendations, and strategies for the De La Vina corridor. So I believe some of you attended their first workshop, and they're coming back for more. So we hope to see some of you there. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Yep.
A quick question.
Commissioner Dorn.
Had you sent us an email with the link to the hearing for Jimmy Chung previously?
Yes, I did send an email with some information about submitting public comment, including the, and I can send additional because they only released the agenda earlier this week. Like us, they release it close to the date.
I would appreciate getting that.
The agenda, absolutely. I will send it to the full commission.
Great. Thank you.
I have another.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Commissioner Dorn.
I have another question. The commission received a public comment letter about an item not on the agenda today, and it made some serious allegations, and I just want to know what is an appropriate form of action going forward.
Thank you. Through the chair to the rest of the commission. So the member of the public did submit to code enforcement about the violations that they perceive. I can tell you that I did read the public comment letter, and it said something about the the columns were the only character defining features. I can send you all as a follow-up after the hearing the historic significance report so you can view it for yourselves. The historic significance report is also available online. You folks reviewed the report, and it was reviewed by historians when you designated the building. So I really can't speak any more to those accusations. And any further information you need about that issue, feel free to reach out to me and I'll send it your way.
But code enforcement is aware.
Code enforcement is aware.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Great. Yes, Commissioner Landvik.
Regarding that, it would be, I think, helpful to us to know what the staff is doing with regard to a complaint like that. It appears that a lot of the public thinks that we are one step above city council even, from the standpoint of decision-making, and we're not.
Wait, we're not?
No, we have very little that we can do about that. So it'd be interesting to know that that person has been responded to, if that's possible to do.
Absolutely, I can look into the status of the enforcement case and give
Yeah.
you folks an update.
Well, it's just not that one, it's most anyone that is, not specifically aimed at a project, but that's kind of a big overview thing that's, that person was a little bit upset and they deserve to be kept informed, and I don't know that they are, but you could help us by telling us that they are being informed.
Yes, I don't have any information at this time about what code enforcement's process is for updating the people who report violations to them. So I can look into that and return with an update, but I don't have that information at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, if you could do that, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
And then also, if you can send out the historic significance report, just to make it easy for us, as well, that'd be fantastic. All right, and then also just as a note on that, as all things that are not agendized, and in terms of emails and stuff, make sure that we're not replying all or in other ways, and usually it's blind copied so that we don't do that accidentally, but just so there's not a discussion outside of, and we don't have a Brown Act violation, but we're still getting the information that we want from staff. So, all right, great, thank you. Other announcements, et cetera? Anything else? All right, okay, great. We'll go on to subcommittee reports. So, any subcommittee reports? And Commissioner Ensberg?
Yes, thank you, Chair Grumbine. Would you like me to report, or?
Sure,
would you
that'd be
like to-
great. Go for it.
Okay, so we're very excited to report that this project that we've been talking about for a while, the one that is the West Figueroa Paseo, that you all remember, we had a meeting this last Monday, a large meeting with the team from the city, and also the mayor attended, and the assistant city administrator. So we had a very, very good group, representatives from DSBIA, and they have gotten the documents together, they've gotten the numbers together for the Phase 1. And as you may recall, we had talked about what can we do, what are the pieces of this that we could move forward with quickly, with the resources we have available, and then other things that might be more costly we would put off. So they have separated it to 2 phases, and this first phase is all within what we have all been discussing. There were no, everything is completely in line with what was discussed before, and we were very happy to see it, and the city wants to try to move forward and get it completed this first quarter.
Yeah, so, so of those things, and they actually have the budget for this early portion, which is basically like the hardscape's a mess. It's all different kinds. So it's a painting of the hardscape with a cohesive, at least non-offensive terracotta color. Little Tivoli lights that are already pre-approved that they use on throughout down
State
El
Street.
Pueblo Viejo, State Street, things like that, little covered ones. And then a few other things like that, a big pot with a plant to screen the transformer a bit. So just some nice and very short-term, but clean it up and get it opened. So that's the main goal, is just clean it up and get it opened. Long-term, they'll be coming back with a simplified version that builds another trash enclosure and does some other things that help clean it up even more and make it more permanent, with more permanent hardscape and that'll come to full HLC. So,
Reminder question?
yeah.
Is that for just one side of the street? Because doesn't the Paseo go across to the other side?
No.
It doesn't really. So that Paseo, it is not, you have to go jog and then reconnect. And so it's not, it's the part that they took out of the project, but it still has the Marburg fences up and, yeah, and it's a real mess. And it has been for whatever, 5+ years.
Right, and just to be clear, it was complex because the part that you're talking about, the part that's on the other side of the building that is the entrance to the parking lot,
Yeah.
that was correcting pedestrian access into a parking lot. what we're talking about is the Paseo part, which we wanted preserved and to be cleaned up and made a true
Yeah.
Paseo, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's.
So anyway, it's moving, it's going to move forward, and we're hoping that it's going to happen, you know,
Q1.
Q1, they said, so, yeah.
Yay. All right.
Yay, yeah,
And,
so
and,
thank you.
yeah. And thank you, Commissioner Ensberg, and as well Commissioner McClure, for their work on this as well. So this
And
is,
you,
yep,
thank you.
great. All right, any other subcommittee reports?
Can I just ask, Chair Grumbine, is there anything that Commissioner Lenvick, anything about State Street?
I have not
You
been
know.
told about anything. I have no, we should have asked the staff planner when she was here what's happening. But I have no knowledge of
So
what's going on.
So State Street Advisory Committee has not been contacted with regard to the current work that we all know is going on with Stefanos Palazoides' work that they're doing.
Nope.
So maybe at some point.
We're not even sure that the State Street Advisory Committee still is in existence.
Okay.
It isn't not in existence. That's one thing we can confirm. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, any other subcommittee reports? All right, let's go on to item 1, the Historic Resource Report with 128 West Mitchell-Torena Street. And so this is a review of Phase 1 Historic Resources Report for a craftsman-style residence and sandstone retaining wall built in 1916. The historic evaluation is required due to a proposal for demolition. Requesting acceptance of the Historic Resource Report prepared by Provenience Group, Inc. Provenience, okay, thank you. Provenience Group, Inc., the report concluded the craftsman-style residence and garage are not eligible for listing as the City of Santa Barbara landmark or structure of merit, but that the sandstone retaining wall along West Mitchell-Torena Street does qualify as an important historic resource that meets the criteria to qualify as a City of Santa Barbara historic landmark. All right, so welcome if those of you who would like first to come forward for the Historic Resources Report.
And while the applicants are getting settled, I'll make a quick staff announcement. As you all know, we are operating without an architectural historian at this time, and normally the architectural historian comments on whether or not they agree with the conclusions. So in lieu of an architectural historian, we would remind the commission that Commissioner Jordan is your expert on historic resources.
Expert witness.
He's the HLC's architectural historian, so you can lean on him for his comments and his guidance. And then just a reminder that although the report was triggered by the proposal for a demolition, the demolition is not before you today, so you must not, it's not in your purview at this time, so you must not discuss it and focus only on the report. And with that, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
All right. So with that, why don't you walk us through and your conclusions and your reasoning, and you technically have up to 15 minutes, but you don't have to take all that time, so.
Okay.
All right, and if you would introduce yourselves for the record first.
I'm Carol DiNardo with Provenience Group. I'm the architectural historian.
I'm Alex Puccio, representing the property owner.
All right, welcome. All right. Okay.
Thank you. At the request of Peugeot and Associates, PGI completed a historic structure inventory and evaluation of the residence at 128 West Mitchell-Torena Street in Santa Barbara in July 2025. It is a 1,179 square foot, one-story craftsman bungalow constructed in 1916 with a detached garage on a 3,485 square foot lot. The building faces south along West Mitchell-Torena Street, and the parcel is bound by private residences on the north, east, and west sides. Additional homes lie across the street. Commercial buildings are located at each corner of Chapala Street. And this is a view of surrounding properties along Micheltorena Street. Here's a view of buildings on the north side of the block, starting with 1502 De La Vina Street, which is a large multi-residential building. It does have craftsman details, such as the knee braces. Then we have 126 and 122 West Micheltorena, and we have another bungalow and a multi-residential unit to the east of it, or excuse me, yeah, to the east of it. Then we have 116 West Micheltorena Street. Which is a very modest residence. Then 114 Micheltorena Street, that's vernacular building. Then 112 West Micheltorena Street, that's modified. It does have craftsman knee braces along the roof line, but nothing more than that. Then 1505 Chapala Street is a commercial building. Here's a view of the buildings on the south side of the block, including a colonial revival and a Georgian revival residences at 125 West Micheltorena Street and 1436 De La Vina Street. Then we have the Chapin Barn and office building. The office building's been restored. And then there's a Spanish-style revival building at the corner. The Danica House office building, built in 1969 at 1505 Chapala Street, is indicated on your left. Then the Spanish influenced commercial building at 111 West Micheltorena is below on the left. And then we have the Chapin Barn and office building. The Chapin Barn, although it's been renovated, it's listed as a structure of merit. Here's a street view of 128 West Micheltorena. A tall hedge frames the front of the residence, and it mostly obscures it from the street. Behind the hedge is a small grassy lawn with landscaping next to the house. The hedge offers protection for the occupants' children. Edging the sidewalk below is a hand-chiseled sandstone wall. The subject property is a craftsman-style residence generally characterized by its wide eave overhang, triangular knee braces, and partial width front porch with corner columns. The one-story residence exhibits a raised floor foundation, wood shingle siding on the exterior walls, which are replacements, with wood skirting below, not original, and a low-pitched front gabled roof clad with composition shingles that are not original. This house form was prevalent in the early 20th century, especially in the Southern California, between 1905 and the early 1920s.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to sneak in here. City TV has asked that it be full screen so it's more visible. to the
Okay,
public.
sorry.
But you can move through the slides with this button right here.
Okay.
Page up, page down.
There we go. The east elevation exhibits a one-story central core with a recessed porch entryway that is oriented approximately 3/4 of the way across the south end of the elevation. 3 wood steps lead up to the porch, which features a wood plank floor. The porch roof is supported by 3 triangular knee braces. The 2 wood porch posts are tapered, and the front entrance is accessed via wood paneled front door, which is not original. Behind the screen door, on the south side of the front door is a large tripart window with a fixed pane flanked by narrow 1/1 panes, which they do not appear to be original. On the wall east of the porch are 2 evenly spaced, identical narrow wood 1/1 light, double hung sash windows featuring ogee lugs. What am I doing wrong here?
You can use page up or page down. I think even the space bar was,
It might be easier to use the mouse than the touch screen, but if you just click on that button, that'll help you move through the slide.
Oh, the left, okay. The north elevation is separated from the neighboring property by less than 5 feet. The east end of the elevation reveals an electrical box and wood frame 1/1 light double hung sash window. There's another identical wood frame 1/1 light double hung sash window near the center wall, with a triangular knee brace support above it at the roof line. Behind a wooden gate, there's a third identical 1/1 light double hung sash window. The north end of the west elevation features a 4-light, 2-panel wood door with a fixed wood frame 1-light transom window above it. It replaced a former window. The gabled roofline exhibits a triangular knee brace at each end of the roofline and a third knee brace at the gable apex. There's also a woodshed roof utility room addition and another addition at the south end of the west elevation. The south elevation faces the driveway. The west end of the small shed-roofed addition reveals a wood-framed 1/1 light window oriented horizontally, and another narrow addition further south with a wood-framed 6-light casement window on the west wall. and a long, narrow, fixed wood-framed window on the south wall. What was likely the original rear of the house is a wood door with a 9-light upper half and an X-paneled area on the bottom half within the west end. Moving eastward, fenestration on the south wall includes a narrow wood-frame sash window oriented horizontally, followed by 2 narrow vertically set wood-frame double-hung sash windows. One exhibits an air conditioning unit. There are 2 small, narrow wood-framed windows that flank the brick chimney further south on the south wall behind the front porch. Along the roofline are triangular knee braces at each end and the gable apex where there is a small wood louver under the gable. Related features. The property owner's garage is accessed via a shared paved driveway. It is part of the same building on the neighbor's property. The east elevation provides access into the garage. The wood plank overhead sliding garage doors They roll from left to right. The garage has a flat roof clad with composition shingles. The garage is visible on the 1931 Sanborn map and may date to the construction of the residence. A chiseled sandstone retaining wall, which is a 2-course with sandstone capstone and posts edging the driveway, borders the property next to the sidewalk along West Micheltorena Street. It continues around the corner from De La Vina Street to 122 West Micheltorena Street and frames the front of homes with addresses of 122, 126, and 128 West Micheltorena Street. The sandstone wall continues along De La Vina Street to the first 3 houses with an address of 1500, 1508, and 1510 De La Vina Street. Other portions of the wall were previously removed or replaced with brick. The property owner does not have plans to remove the portion of the sandstone wall on his property. Oops. Senior architectural historian Carol DiNardo conducted research at the Santa Barbara Public Library, UCSB Davidson Library, and Santa Barbara Property Records Database Permit File, City, County Planning and Development Building Departments, County Assessor's Office, Hall of Records, University of California, Davidson Library, Maps and Imagery Laboratory, City of Santa Barbara Public Library, Building and Assessor Parcel Documents and Surveyor Maps on file at City and County offices in Santa Barbara, and deeds were examined to establish the chain of title. Further, PGI staff reviewed historic maps, specific publications, telephone directories, U.S. Census records, Sanborn fire insurance maps, historic maps, and aerial photographs, architectural renderings, deeds and official records, U.S. Census records, and numerous online resources for additional information about the subject property. Historic research for the property did not identify an architect for the building, but the design is very similar to Pacific Homes style 49 ready-cut plans featured in 1923. However, the Style 49 house has superior detailing, among which includes porch beam, dentrals, different windows on the facade, and brick porch, unlike this property. Building modifications. There weren't a lot that were indicated over time, but the property records database contains permits with the earliest permit for the subject property in 1944, and the most recent permit was filed in 2004. The most substantial known alterations occurred in 1944 when the property owners likely put a wood door on the new cellar, and skirting was placed along the base of the house. Other modifications at that time include a rear porch, toilet, bath, and window, which may be when the footprint was extended on the west and south elevations. Mr. Peugeot replaced some of the doors and windows in 1988 when he installed replacement roofing in 1993.
And pardon my interruption to the chair, just to make you aware, the applicant presentation has gone over by about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Well,
How are you doing? Can you think you wrap up in the next couple minutes?
yes,
Okay.
Yeah, we've read the report.
okay.
You can kind of skim through quickly, just
Okay.
touch on them.
Events in association with the subject property, there's no specific events. The architect is unknown, but the building contractor was Alfred J. Avery. Alex Peugeot is the only prior resident with any local distinction.
And he's here.
Okay, well, we all know the significance criteria. Okay, under criterion 1A, although the property bears some association with the early 20th century, which was an important period of development, it does not have a direct association with specific events. Criteria 2B, the subject property bears some association with the lives of persons important in local history. Most of the early owners were blue-collar workers. The design of the residence did not rise to a level of national or state importance. The criterion 3C, the property embodies some characteristics of craftsman bungalows. The quality of the materials and design were not exceptional according to the building permit. The building was Avery, who had a more remarkable career as a building contractor. However, construction of the kit house would not be complicated for any builder. Further, the shared garage on the property does not have any design or material attributes that would qualify it as a historic property or of historic significance. Although the sandstone feature along West Micheltorena streetscape is a sandstone retaining wall with character-defining features of the street. It possesses high artistic and historic value in accordance with context from Images of America. Sandstone was an important aspect of the built environment and streetscape in Santa Barbara. Okay, Santa Barbara evaluation results. Although the property bears some association with the early 20th century, which was an important period of development, it does not have a direct association with specific events during the period. Therefore, it does not apply to this property. The subject property bears some association with the lives of persons important in the local history of Santa Barbara. Most of the property owners were blue-collar workers. However, the building has been the residence of Mr. Peugeot, who is a long-term, well-known architect in Santa Barbara. However, he did not design this building. Craftsman-style homes were a favored design during the early 20th century. Between 1905 and the mid-20s, the residence was designed for working-class people. The modest craftsman bungalow architectural style is not particularly significant or unique, especially since it appears to be a kit house design according to a building permit. The builder was Alfred J. Avery. Mr. Avery specialized in construction of theaters and is recognized for his work on Santa Cruz Island and construction of theaters. Construction of the house would not have been an important accomplishment. The sandstone retaining wall along the West Micheltorena streetscape is a character-defining feature of the street because it possesses high artistic and historical value. Its construction reflects regional identity, craftsmanship, and city planning efforts during the Spanish colonial revival era.
And then, do you want to just touch on the last couple points, and then I think we're going to need to wrap it up.
The residence garage and sandstone wall have all been researched and not likely to provide additional information. A hedge currently obscures the residence, yeah, that's pretty much it. The sandstone wall is a visual streetscape that has high artistic value.
All right.
And I think that's it.
Okay.
That's gonna, and.
Okay, and then we're going to get into questions and that
Okay.
after as well. So
Okay,
some of the
sorry
stuff-
about
Say
that.
something?
Sure.
Just very briefly.
Yeah.
The reason we're here, the reason we propose to demolish this residence is because it's in such poor condition that it is not feasible to keep it. Otherwise, we will just keep it. Every primary structural component, including the foundation, the pony walls, the exterior walls, the chimney, and the roof, require complete replacement. And due to the extent of the deterioration, there are few original architectural elements that can be reasonably preserved or rehabilitated.
Pardon my interruption. Through the chair and to the applicant presentation is now approaching 25 minutes, and the structural integrity of the house is not under the commission's purview. So I think we really need to move on to
Okay,
public comment.
but that's the reason why we want to remove it. It's because it's not feasible to keep it. Thank you.
All right, great, thank you. And then, so now we'll close, since the presentation is done, we'll open public comment. Anyone in the room wishing to comment on this item?
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. At this time, I do have one speaker slip for public comment, and that's for Michael Acton. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. But if anyone else in the room would like to speak on this project, you can fill out a speaker slip along the wall and bring it up to me, and I will call your name afterwards. Thank you.
All right,
Good afternoon, my name is Michael Acton, and I am the owner of 126 West Micheltorena, which is right next door to Alex's property. And I raised my family there, and I don't live there now, but I still currently own it. And I love the neighborhood, and change comes. It does happen, and I'm not against the knocking down of the building and all of that. However, I came down, I thought this was to talk about the house, and we're talking about the stone wall. I reread this, and so I had to kind of just go back a little bit while I was sitting here. And I just want to say either pro or con, take this however you interpret it, because you're the ones that are in charge of the city. It's a
Full
great-
stop.
The design elements and all of that.
yeah.
Free parking for everyone.
Yeah, free parking for everyone. Parking is very bad on Mitchell Street. My property is zoned R4, and I met with an architect years ago to try to build or deal with all of what I could do on my property. And the first thing out of her mouth was, those stone walls are untouchable. And I thought they were literally set in stone, literally. So it's nice to know that there's an avenue for my property, because I gave up on it. So I'm going to follow I'm just going to follow this and see where it leads. I'm very interested in what your decision will be. It is, despite the fact that it's a very trafficked street, I loved living there, and I loved everything about it. And if you take that square block and walk around it, it feels really historic. And despite the Spanish and Danica house on the corner there, everything else back to the freeway is really, really nice and charming. So keep that in mind. And the last thing I would like to add is the comment about a blue collar, this was built by a blue collar worker or whatever. That's disturbing to me, because those are the people who built this city and built these historic homes. And to have that as thrown out as something that is not worthy, that's what built the worthiness that we all want to protect. So we should keep that in mind as we go forward. Blue collar is not a bad thing.
All right.
And that was,
And sorry to cut you off, but we are, I should have mentioned you have 2 minutes. But if you could wrap up any of your final statements.
that's what I'm done.
Okay.
Change comes, I know that. And I will support Alex in whatever he tries to go forward with. But I would like to take also in mind what your expertise is.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I don't have any more speaker slips for in-person public comment for this item, though if anyone else would like to speak, you can approach the podium at this time. But I'm not seeing any movement towards the podium, so I will move to virtual participation. If anyone online would like to speak under this item, you can raise your hand at this time. But I'm not seeing any raised hands, and we did not receive any written correspondence for this item, so I'll give it back to you.
All right. Okay, so we'll go to the commission. I think for the sake of keeping everything moving, and since we're already 20 minutes over, I do want to have questions for the report presenter, have a discussion, and then a vote, and we're going to sort of move through this, in a successful manner. So, Commissioner Doran.
A question and a clarification. I'm looking at an agenda that says we're being asked to accept the report. There is no discussion of future plans for the
Yeah.
site. The demolition is off the table, should make no difference in whether or not we accept the report.
That's right.
Is that my correct understanding? Okay, fine.
And also as a point of clarification for the audience as well, the report comes to a certain conclusion. So our job, and the conclusions in summary is that the house structure is not worthy of being a structure of merit or a landmark, but the wall is. And so that's the conclusion of the report. We can agree with all or part or none of it. But just for clarification, we're reviewing the report and its conclusions and reasons, and which we could do any of those things with. All right, Commissioner Lenvick?
Correct me if I'm wrong, staff, but this board, this commission will never see the proposed architecture for this property.
Through the chair to Commissioner Lenvick, that is incorrect, because if you accept the conclusions of the report, the sandstone retaining wall will qualify as a historic resource and will be added to the local register of historic places. So the whole project will come to you at that point.
So because the wall is potentially historic, then anything that's designed for the property has to come to us.
Correct.
Yes, but with the big giant asterisk that it can be demolished as any other non-historic thing could be demolished. It's
Correct.
only we will be judging the architecture based on how with the wall. and making sure that the architecture is responsive in some way.
I didn't realize that we would actually see it. I thought it would go to ABR.
If we didn't have the sandstone wall, then yes, it would go to ABR or a single-family design for.
Correct. And to kind of further clarify, if you accept the conclusions of the report and they move forward with a proposal for demolition, that will not trigger an EIR, and you will not need to make demolition findings. Unless they propose demolishing the historic sandstone wall, and then that would
Then that would be
kick up a
the
whole
whole
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good for clarifications. All right. So questions from the commission? Anyone have questions? Yeah, Commissioner Butler.
So I'm struggling with the house itself. What are, and I had to write this question out. So what are the significant exterior features to the house that changed that you believe would disqualify it from being considered historic?
And so just also, just so we have a visual, can you flip to the front of the house as at least a major side, or the number one side, but also having the most characteristics for our visual clarity? And I know there's stuff that happens on all the different sides, but at least.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Is that better?
Okay. Since you asked, here's the slide. Okay. So, yeah, if you can kind of go through, and you went through, but this, and I had a similar question. So, like, for example, the shingle siding was replaced, is that correct?
Yes.
And do you know what it used to be?
It
Was it
was,
flat siding or shiplap, or was it shingle before?
I think it was, they re-shingled it. I'm not certain, but
Not under my time.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. And were there any photos of it
No.
that you could? Okay.
no.
And then are you asking for sort of what are the characters,
Yep.
features here that changed?
We're using that, what changed, because like, as you're saying, if it was re-shingled, but it was shingled prior, then that's not a change, that's just a restoration work. So
Well,
what
the-
I'm really trying to understand is what changed about this house so radically that it eliminated it from its original 1916 craftsman style? And that was entered into your analysis that said, doesn't qualify.
That's planning term.
It is, we use that all the time.
Very.
So I'm just trying to get
Well,
a sense of,
the roof was possibly wood shingled originally. It's got composition shingles now. Some of the front door, some of the windows, like the tripart window in the front has been replaced.
The skirt around the base, was that?
didn't
Yes,
understand
that
that,
was
yeah.
added later. The back of the house, there were a lot of changes as well, the additions. Oh, yeah. So,
Okay, does that answer your question?
well, that's their answer, yes.
Okay. Okay, that answers the question. Okay, other questions? Commissioner Ensberg.
Yes, my question is to Commissioner Dordan. Since he is our historian expert, I'd like to hear what his thoughts are on this.
Why don't we'll start with
Comments?
comments with him, and then, but
I
if you have
comments.
questions.
I have no question, I have
Okay.
comments.
Okay, so, and then any other questions from the commission before we go into comments? Okay, all right, so why don't we roll into comments, starting with
Okay.
Commissioner Jordan?
The report is very thorough in its description of the house. I'll start with the sandstone walls. They extend beyond the property line. They are a character-defining feature of the street. In fact, they stretch around the corner. They are definitely worthy of preservation, right? But that's a character-defining feature of the street. Beyond that, when you begin to look at the house itself, you have the outline, the silhouette, the shape and massing of a craftsman. But since then, since its original construction, the skirting, the siding, and the roofing have all been altered or changed. They are not original features of the house. In its present configuration, it's largely obscured from the street. So although there are other houses of a similar vintage or character in the neighborhood, this is not a visually important part of that. It's the sandstone walls that are most important. I'm trying to say, I'm asking myself the question, if this report argued just the opposite, that it was worthy, exact same report, but concluded it was worthy, would we necessarily find it worthy of designation? We would clearly find the sandstone walls worthy of designation. I am personally not convinced that I would find the house worthy of designation. But I want to clarify that that has nothing to do with future plans of the house. It's just making an assessment of the house. And particularly in light of Santa Barbara has a fairly rich collection of craftsman homes, not just isolated homes, but whole districts. So the role of the craftsman home in the architectural history of this city is well established. And so I'm not sure that we would find this particular one worthy of designation. Now, my question going forward is, since the sandstone wall is, this report agrees with that conclusion, but says the house isn't. So if we accept the report, what I do not want to do is accept a report that damages in some way the future of that sandstone wall. I want it very clearly that the commission believes that's a character-defining feature of the street, of the streetscape.
All right,
So we have
staff
a report that
for
says one
clarity.
thing's
Yeah.
worth it and part of this isn't. Can we accept that report without prejudicing future action to preserve or designate the sandstone wall?
Absolutely. So if you accept the conclusions of this report, the house would not be added to the local register of historic places. They would be able to move forward with demolition. The sandstone wall would be added to the local register, and then any future project would trigger a Phase 2 HSSR to make sure that there would be no negative impact on the sandstone wall. So the commission, when reviewing the project, they'll be able to review that HSSR, or that
Okay.
Phase 2 HSSR as
Thank
well.
you.
All right.
And when it comes to a vote, I will probably vote to accept, unless somebody talks me out of it in the next 10 minutes. But
All right.
that's my,
Great, thank you, Commissioner Jordan. All right, so who wants to go next in terms of comments? I'll throw my thoughts in there then if no one's jumping. I have a similar sort of take on it. I think it is one of those ones, and asking the same question, if you reversed it and we're arguing for it. There are a lot of pieces, I mean, there's some that jump out, like need the knee brace, the battered columns, for some of the detailing, wall and the rafter tails and that. They're original and they are a nice feature, but there has been a decent amount that's changed. And the question of even the shingle, if it was shingle before, it's also, I don't know if it was that shingle with the narrow strip and, it probably wasn't that. And so was it siding even, or, so there seems to be enough of this that has been, and the skirting as well, and the front door and front windows as like the main facade. There has been a lot that's been messed with. It's not the worst one that we've seen, but it's certainly in the gray area for me as well. And because a lot has been messed with, I would tend towards that and is definitely not one of the better of our collection in Santa Barbara of craftsmen, at least in their original quality. So I could definitely see the arguments for that. And anyway, those are my thoughts.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah. Vice Chair Uli.
I'm a little conflicted. I think maybe some of us are feeling that we're conflicted about it. The interesting thing about the standards are that whether the replacement shingle pattern matches exactly what was there originally, or that the skirting wasn't there but is there now, or that a window was changed or modified from its original. If it's had enough history, then those elements themselves become part of the context according to the standards. I think the report suggests that those improvements were done quite some time ago. Even 1980 is, a significant amount of time. So I don't necessarily find that those, quote, new improvements, unquote, change the character of this building at all. Wood shake roofs can be replicated with asphalt shake roofs, and I hate to use a pejorative term, but the common man walking down the street wouldn't know the difference. Nor would anyone who knew the house with the original shake siding and saw this would say, oh, that's really different. They would look at this Craftsman house and say, that's a Craftsman house. It has all the pieces and all the elements. So is it worthy to be designated or not, I think is really the test. And I agree with Commissioner Dordan's assessment in the sense that we have a lot of Craftsman buildings in this town, and we're very fortunate to have that inventory available to us. Whether we can see this house or not, I don't think is part of the criteria of whether or not it should be designated. I have a hedge in front of my house. You can only see it when you're going by the driveway. But so, if the hedge were there or not there, I think is irrelevant to the standard. So I'm conflicted because I believe it is a good example of a nice Craftsman house from the period from which it was constructed. The fact that it has modifications to it, I think, doesn't hurt its ability to be designated. So there I am, stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to figure out where I'm going to land on it.
All right. Other thoughts? Commissioner Lenvik?
Thank you. When I look at the Sanborn map on page 26, and you might want to bring that up.
Do you have the whole report?
don't.
But you don't have the whole thing, huh?
Just tell us what you see and we'll.
Well,
we go.
when I
City
look at the
TV.
Sanborn map,
City TV, can you come?
I see the two buildings on the corner, and then this building, forming a three-building complex with one garage at the back of all three buildings.
It's the PDF height.
There. So I look at that and I say to myself, well, was this originally designed as a small little complex of some sort in which the shared parking and shared backyard and so on and so forth existed? And now we're looking at starting to take away that unique little feature of the construction, and we'll never get that back. Anything that goes on there in the future is going to be something different. I mean, the whole block, the whole neighborhood, with a few exceptions, are one story. And that is also, I think, is as important a feature as the sandstone wall in some aspects. That we have this beautiful, as the gentleman said, neighborhood, and you can walk around it, and if you drive around there, there's sandstone walls run 3 blocks that way and 2 blocks that way, and the sandstone walls are part of the original conception of the project, of the development of the building. So, has the report that we have before us today missed something that they should be looking at and telling us about? That's my comment or question. I have no problem with the demolition. I firmly believe it's probably not in and of itself a significant or more significant than any other buildings within, whatever. But I look at the arrangement of the parts and I say, very interesting, isn't it?
All right. So that's, that may have been the first comment that you've ever made that was actually a question. Usually it's the reverse. All right, so now as a question to the report writer, any thoughts on that that comment of question of the, collection, so of the sort of urban collection of those structures and having a neighborhood character. And also just confirming that those other two still exist as well. Sure.
I lived on that house for a while. Basically, there are three properties. They are divided. I mean, they are shown in this map, but there are three properties, and they have each gone their own way, and they have changes. And the one in the corner, the upper left, it's kind of different now. The one in the corner has changed a lot. So there's nothing that ties them together at this point.
We're not going to engage in a debate here, but what I do see is no driveway access for the two that are on Delavino Street, I guess it is, and all the access for parking or for the interior to the properties, of all three properties, is that one that's off Mitchell Terrena, with a common garage for all of them.
Two of them, the one in the back doesn't have a garage. I mean, the one in the corner doesn't have a garage. It's shared by two.
We're not going to debate this, and I say that is one defect in the report that I see is that you have not addressed the bigger picture of those three buildings and how they worked together and were designed and built together.
Okay.
Chair-
Yeah, Commissioner Enberg.
That's bringing up a question for me. Since this garage is connected but belongs to two separate properties, is that right? It belongs to two separate properties, but it's connected. We saw the picture of it. How does that affect everything? If you, are we saying that we can demolish the garage but only half of it, or how does that work?
Probably. That's what's on the property.
You just sawzall it and then take it
We'll
away?
let them figure that out.
Okay, that was my question about it, okay.
For Solomon.
Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Lenvik, did you?
No.
Okay. Yeah, Commissioner Lodge?
I'm assuming there's an easement across some of those properties for driveway access, and that hasn't been revealed if it is or isn't.
All right, so we'll sort that, for right now, we'll focus on report and that aspect of it. We haven't heard from Commissioner Lodge yet, and then we'll try to get some action, depending on what that is.
Today.
Today, exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any problem with accepting the report.
All right, that was simple. Okay.
And
All
Chair
right.
Grumbein,
Yes.
I would also agree with that. I appreciate Commissioner Dordan's analysis, and I would not have a problem with accepting the report.
Okay. All right, so we've heard from everyone. It seems like there's three possible ways of going. One is to accept the report. One is to not accept the report conclusion when it comes to the house. No one said anything contrary for the stone wall, so I think everyone's in favor of the stone wall. And then the third would be to send it back for the report writer to address this additional issue of the collection of those three houses, structures, and the garage as an analysis of that as part of this report, if we feel like it's not enough information and that might change our minds one way or the other. That would be a third option. So, and I think those are what it is. So I think I'll open it up to see if anyone wants to make a motion, and then we can see where it goes from there, because we do need to move this along.
I'll make a motion to accept the historic resource report for 128 West Mitchell Terrena.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Lodge, all right, and any discussion? Any other final? All right, in that case, roll call vote, please.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Dordan.
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
I know. Yes.
Vice Chair Uli,
No.
and Chair Grumbine.
Yes.
Vice Chair Uli, would you like to provide a reason for the
I
no?
don't think the report has a strong enough conclusion to determine that the house is not eligible for listing on the structure of merit list, notwithstanding the value of the stone wall, but I don't think it draws a strong enough conclusion.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shirley. All right. And so this is, the report passes, and, yeah, there isn't any appeal period, so thank you very much for your report, and I agree that that was a close one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next, we're on to our last item, item 2. This is our new item for concept review, 33 East Cannon Perdido Street, the Libero Theater. So located in EPV and designated a city landmark, the Libero Theater was designed in 1924 by George Washington Smith in the Spanish colonial revival style. The rear addition to the building was added in 1926. Proposal for demolition of the existing rehearsal hall and courtyard and construction of a new 3-story, 10,800 square foot building addition to accommodate a new loggia rehearsal hall, rooftop deck, office space, back of house storage areas, and catering kitchen. Site improvements include accessibility upgrades and a new courtyard entry off the Libero Paseo. The project includes a minor tenant improvement to the existing basement and additional offices in the annexing shop building. The project was designated a community benefit project by City Council on June 17, 2025, and requires Planning Commission approval of development plan for the new non-residential floor area. Planning Commission must also make the required height findings to allow proposed building addition at 46 feet in height. Project received a one-time pre-application review by the Historic Landmark Commission on July 31st, 2024. No final appealable action will take place at this meeting. Project compatibility findings and major alteration findings will be required for project design approval. All right, and there was a Phase 1 historic structure site report completed in 2012. All right, so welcome. If you could introduce yourselves for the record.
Chair Grubbein,
yes,
hi,
go
thank
ahead.
you. And if I may, before the applicant begins, good afternoon, Commission. My name is Carly Ernest. I'm the case planner for the project. I think the project description covered it, but just a reminder, and for in your motion today, for when the project heads to Planning Commission, if you could please comment on the project compatibility findings for their consideration, and also the height findings, which we have a slide for with those findings. This is similar to the project we did with 901 State Street. Also need your comments on these findings for Planning Commission to consider. With the height of the addition that's currently proposed, it would require PC to make these findings. And then also if you can comment on story poles and if you would like those or can waive them. And I'm available for questions. Thank you.
All right, great, thank you. All right, so why don't we have introductions, and then we'll go to the minutes from the one-time application, and then we'll have you guys have 15 minutes to do your presentation.
Mr. Chair, excuse me, I just want to say that I watched the hearing on July 31st, 2024.
Great, thank you. And because it was a one-time application, even if those that were missing or weren't part of the commission will still be able to ask questions and vote, but it's still great if you watch the original. So, all right, if you would introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Mark Shields with Design Arc.
Melissa Turner, Senior Project Manager for Design Arc.
Sarah Corder, Principal Architectural Historian, South Environmental.
All right, great, thank you. All right, and so I'll go through these minutes, and then we'll let you have 15 minutes to go through how if you were answering these minutes, how you may answer them, and also what has changed between before and now as part of it as well. Okay, so we had the commission's comments were, one, the commission thanks the applicant for bringing this important landmark project early in the process and encourages the project's success going forward. The commission is in favor of the size of the addition. Their main concern is the overall vertical massing and detailing. Next, return with perspectives from the major public streets and paseos, suggestion for an animation or three-dimensional model. Next, study the addition, including the red tile roof, cornice, and large arched window to be simplified and not draw more attention than the main landmark. Next, some commissioners feel that the railing wall solution for the second floor roof terrace should be restudied. Some commissioners feel the third floor of the annex building should be moved to another location rather than altering the building as it is a small amount of space. Next, study the Paseo design as it is a complex three-dimensional space. Address how the public passes through the space and how patrons access the rehearsal hall in the back. Next, study the north elevation, Paseo entrance, and the intersection of the various buildings. Next, the commission is supportive of the former entrance on Anacapa Street becoming the back of house. Simplify the side entrance to make it more appropriate for its purpose. And next, expand the proposed basement into the space that is marked as dirt.
All right.
All right. So with that, if you would walk us through how you answered any and all those, and then anything else that's changed in your design.
Thank you, Mr. Grumbine. A quick maybe summary, and I'll also have a little bit of time left for the executive director to chime in at the very end and close our presentation. Since we've seen you about a year and a half ago, we've done obviously a lot of work and due diligence. We were in front of City Council to get our community benefit designation for the landmark, which we didn't have prior to. We've also done our PRT application with staff and been working diligently with them. Since then, the board has also started the pre-construction services with a general contractor to navigate some of Valley Engineering that we've been working on. Other due diligence items like getting our civil engineer, geotech, archaeo, and historian on board, working on the PRT comments. Since we've last seen you, we've also had the opportunity to get a budget on the project and study value engineering solutions because it was a little bit more than we had anticipated. And I'll have Mark talk a little bit more about that. We were very pleased about the initial warm response we received from you all when we were here, and that gave us the vote of confidence that we were moving in the right direction in the first place. And we're really pleased to be here finally in front of you so we can show you the revisions we've done. And I'll turn it over to Sarah.
Hi, everybody. Pleasure as always. I've been working with the design team kind of from the beginning for the first concept review and then through the feedback that we received from you all and helping them to make sure they stay on track to conform to the standards, but also incorporate the feedback and also working within the El Pueblo Design District guidelines. And I also was able to coordinate with Nicole prior to her leaving to make sure she and I were kind of on the same page, that the design was moving forward in the manner that we all thought it should, and that we were just cognizant of the feedback that we received. So we're hopeful today that you guys will be into the design like we are, and we have a lot of changes, but they're all really positive, and we think that it's a really great project. It was great before, but we're really excited about it now. And Mark's gonna just give you the business now, so we're excited about that.
Can I have more than 15 minutes?
Let's try to keep
It's
it to
such a
15
big
minutes.
project. Okay, I'll do my best. Anyway, it's good to be here today, and it's a challenging project, certainly, and one dear to my heart after so many years of attendance. From surf films in the 70s to Baryshnikov and to the blasters. Let's take a look at the plans. Working with Stables Construction on pre-construction costs and Libero Board to VE, we have reduced the project by about 4,000 square feet from our first conceptual plan a year and a half ago. So now the addition feels smaller and fits the site more comfortably. Summarize the big changes. We removed their basement and made the first level the backstage area and lobby, which is about 4,700 square feet. We reduced the easterly footprint as well, pulled it back to align with the facade of the building, removed the second level balconies, removed the added third level at the scene shop, which was a request by the board, enhanced and studied the Paseo, which we love, relocated the new entry, the new main entry to the addition to the west. That was another suggestion by the board. We had it on the east side on Anacapa, and now that's really back of house and loading and unloading. Expanded the easterly loading dock area, which I just mentioned. The setbacks now, which are, I think, really fantastic. I love it when a building is set back quite a ways from the street. Our addition before, our previous plan, had it out quite a ways towards Anacapa Street, and now we've made it flush with the building, which gets our land back in that area, which is beautiful for continuing the landscape up the street. And that setback's about,
Expanded to full.
yeah,
or
that setback's about 27 square feet, and there's
27 feet.
the site wall intrudes into that, but that's obscuring our trash enclosure and back-of-house loading area and courtyard, which was suggested by the board. So we're very proud of that setback, and I think it's going to help really set the building off. We also lost a balcony on the north side, and so, which was on the property line, so now we have a 10-foot setback from the city parking ramp on the north side, which is also great for landscaping. Let's go to, we're on one or two. The second level now is now the banquet hall. The first floor was back of house. We lost the basement. The second floor now is the banquet hall. Seats about 120 to 130 persons. Includes a service bar, catering kitchen, bathrooms, and circulation. The notch in the easterly wall line, if you see that, demarcates and separates the new addition from the original tower edifice, which I think is important. We propose offices within the second level and the scene shop, and we are not adding a third level to the scene shop, which is a request by the board. A103, Melissa? Which one are we on right now? Where are the numbers?
This is A103.
This 103, okay. The third level hosts a lounge and bar and event terrace with fireplace, which is much smaller than our original scheme, and I think more appropriate to the size of the project. The terrace, the open-air terrace, which has amazing views to the mountains and to the east, is about 2,000 square feet. The bar and terrace share beautiful views towards the courthouse and the mountains to the north, and to Montecito Peak and the Riviera to the east, which is really going to be fabulous. This open-air terrace is an ideal event space for the Libero. Okay, now 301. I think this is 301. Yes, this is 301. Architecturally, our historic mantra is complementary but deferential, respectful. We understand the importance of the magnificent Libero design by George Washington Smith and Luda Maria Riggs, and we hope that you approve of our ideas for the addition. With the new addition massing maintaining the strength of the theater massing, but diminutive in relative scale as it cascades down to the north of the tower, to the north side of the project. Our view windows, rational shape, and no longer competes with a massive arched stage door. So that's another request to the board. We adjusted that tall window, which is really going to be fantastic in terms of the interior space and the view. It used to be arched, squared it off, simplified it, and made it narrower. Then we're also adding new olive trees along Anacapa, which complements the existing olive trees, and the olives wrap around the corner. We may be able to save the existing pepper, which is kind of iconic, which I drew in elevation there. We have yet to study that, but setting the building back the 27 feet really helps the potential life of that old tree. And to specifically address your comments from our first meeting, the building height is the direct result of the appropriate ceiling heights at each level, combined with floor structure. The vertical massing reflects the iconic strength of the theater massing, or our vertical massing, which reflects the strong strength of the theater massing, but remains differential to the scale and extreme height of the flight tower. Massing steps down to the northwest Paseo entrance. You asked us to study the roof, cornice, and arched window. The minimal mission tile hipped roof on top of our project relates to the neighboring building context. The Julia, U.S. Bank, El Centro, even Madame Rosinka's finishes the project with a tile roof, as they are all capped with tile roofs. It's very Santa Barbaran and also hides necessary venting and some of our mechanical equipment. We feel it finishes the addition and does not resemble or compete with the Fly Tower's iconic grand cornices. In a subtle way, this tile roof blends the northern addition with the original structure as it finished also with a tile roof as well. The large arched window. Listening to the Commission's comments, we have simplified the view window by losing the arched top and narrowing it slightly, which I've already mentioned. Okay, A302. Okay, this is the north elevation. On this north elevation, our differential modest massing steps down to the northwest to meet the paseo and the existing scene shop. You can see that on the lower right-hand side. The bar lounge is symmetrical across the fly tower and still leaves 3 stories of the tower wall above, which is so iconic. And I think it's important, I thought about this a lot when you drive down Anacapa, that our upper 3rd story is symmetrical about the fly tower. I think it feels better. Note the northern metal-clad wood view windows from the banquet hall and lounge bar. So these windows are really going to be fantastic. They're large and they face north, which views the courthouse and the mountains. Our idea is that they're wood-clad. They're wood windows that are metal-clad. The olive trees wrap the corner, and here we propose a privet hedge, a giant bird of paradise, bougainvillea, and kentia palms located at the paseo entrance. So we're enhancing the paseo entrance as you walk towards our project from the U.S. Bank. I want to speak to some of the other HLC comments. The 3rd floor annex building moved. We had a 3rd floor suggested there, which provided more offices, but we decided, we took your advice and decided not to enlarge that, and it was complicated anyway. It is known to us as a scene shop, and we proposed adding a 3rd level here, but agree with the Commission that this small building will remain 2 levels. We plan to build out the clipped corner and have offices in this building. So we have some offices in the 2 levels that are there, and we're clipping the corner and plan to make a more comfortable courtyard. You also asked that we study the north elevation. We propose scaling down this north elevation in a collection of smaller masses which provide a more human scale at the northern paseo entrance. So scaling down, kind of matching the scene shop with our stair tower and our entry facade. A303. Moving along to A303. This is the west entrance of the Libero, which is just off city parking lot number 9. And this is a request kind of by everybody, the board and yourselves, to move this entrance to the west. We had it on the east side. It makes a lot of sense because most people use that parking lot to come visit the Libero. So we studied that, and we think this is an appropriate change. It's clearly visible as you leave city parking lot number 9. The scene shop is dashed in the foreground, but it remains a strong element to this entry and actually helps create a nice square courtyard at the front door. The exterior massing to the right of the entry is subservient to the tower and provides an appropriate space for entry signage. The new large entry door is flanked by a decorative facade which melts into the 2nd floor lobby window above, and the paseo ascends up to the left. A lot of work to get the paseo elevations and ramp to line up with our floor levels. And there's some more details we'd like to talk about that in the future about that. But we have that paseo ramp ADA accessible. And we're excited about the paseo. I think it's neat to connect up with the Santa Barbara paseos, and I think this one will be interesting.
We eliminated the trellis.
What are we doing?
Eliminated the trellis.
Yeah. We had a trellis proposed that went down the paseo from the north to the south, and we eliminated that as part of our VE efforts with Staples Construction.
2 minutes left. We have 2 minutes left.
Oh, God. Let's go to A401. There's just a lot to cover. Okay, this is an important section. There we go. Okay, this really tells the story, but the backstage area was an important change for us because really needed more space and more room for the actors and performers, and there's 3 offices down there as well, and it was necessary to keep it level with the existing stage, which is really a nice touch, and that inspired us to put the banquet hall on the 2nd level, and the lower backstage ceiling is about 10 feet, the banquet hall is about 14, the roof terrace above you can see, and then the bar lounge ceiling is about 13 feet. You can also see our proposed mechanical well above the bar lounge area. Let's skip A402. Let's see, this looks like what we should be. This is A501? Okay. This view from the south of Anacapa Street and east Canapedito Street is really, in our minds, of course, the iconic view of the Libero Theater, the front door, right? And we've worked hard to make our addition kind of very diminutive to this elevation, and it helped a lot by pulling it back and keeping that 2nd-story portion as low as we could. This is looking at it from the north, coming down Anacapa Street, and you can see the symmetry of the hip roof above against the fly tower, and how our massing steps down or cascades down towards the north, and eventually toward, kind of encapsulates a recessed opening which is more of a welcoming gesture for the Paseo. Go down to the eastern view. That one, okay. Here we can absolutely see how we're stepping up towards the fly tower with our vertical massing. We intentionally have a very blank wall here. We have enough window space to the north, and we like the blankness of this wall and feel that it kind of helps relate to the strength of the original Libero design. So we didn't see putting a lot of windows on this elevation at all because we love the massing and simplicity of what George Washington Smith and Luda Riggs had started with. The aerial view is sort of self-explanatory. The terrace deck, the hip roof with a mechanical well. You can really see here our service loading area off of Anacapa Street. And that's really back of house. Our trash is behind a 7-foot wall. And we're suggesting to march more olive trees up Anacapa Street. And we have room to wrap that olive idea around the corner, which I think is a nice touch. And certainly the corner will be well landscaped. The next page is, sorry, I skipped one. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's go to the top. The north elevation, blow that up if you can, Melissa. Again, this is really about the cascading of our massing down towards the north and towards the U.S. Bank. There's a scene shop on your right, and this is really our welcoming entrance to the Paseo, which leads one across the entrance to the parking lot, all the way down around our building and ends up at the front door in the courtyard we've created. And this entry will be enhanced by further landscaping, Kentia palms in the corner, cycads, and we have a large giant bird of paradise to the left of the stair tower right there. Okay. Next, see, go to the right. Okay, close-up view of the, once you approach the Paseo, we kind of circumnavigate around the stone wall in the foreground because we need the excess length for our ADA access. And so I think it's a very welcoming entry, and I hope Cass appreciates our efforts towards the Paseo. Sure, there's more fine-tuning to be done. This is a great shot too because we're opening up. There's landscaping here, but as you come down from City Parking Lot number 9, you cross the entry road, and we're opening this up so that our entry court is more visible. And by adding a site wall around the transformer, once you're in the entry court, I think you'll feel a nice sense of place, and it makes itself an entry and a place to be. You can see that we're working on a facade there at the entry door. It's furred out and it will have some decorative elements to it and captures a 2nd floor window, which is in the elevator lobby on the 2nd floor. And looking up that ramp, you'll see another large window, which you can see in elevation from our former elevations. And that's a large window kind of halfway up. So as you enter the building, you're going up a light-filled stairway to the second floor banquet hall. So an important feature to bring more light. And that's the idea with our larger windows, even though we don't have them, a lot of windows on the eastern elevation on Anacapa Street. We do like the idea of our large windows because we think it's just going to really enhance the view and make it a nice, exciting, light-filled space. Moving right along, got one more thing to talk about. A15. Okay, here's some sketchy details that we've done. So I know you guys love details, and we're into them as well. Essentially, the existing building, the cornices are very well defined, almost neoclassical and sharp. We're suggesting that our cornices of various sizes, of course, that relate to the massing, but also that they're softer. That's one way we plan to differentiate the architecture from the existing building. We've looked at the roof section, which is down your lower right, and we'd like to recess the roof with an internal gutter. I think it minimizes the roof and sets it off against the style of the eave detailing on the main theater as well. Next page. Some more sketchy details we would refine later, but of course paying attention to the beautiful handrail. It could be a beautiful handrail on the paseo with wrought iron, nice and wrought iron detailing. The sketchy wrought iron detailing. This one to the right these are our columns that flank the entrance to the bar lounge, and they will have some chamfers and simple detailing as well. And this bump is kind of cool, I think, because it's down by the loading dock. And when you study the building and you look at just adding a normal site wall to the east side where we have our loading dock, it didn't seem to relate well to the older building, and so we added a furred out base like this, which is exaggerated, as are the giant base, which is pretty exciting, of the existing Libero entry on this side. So we're trying to say we get it, but we like the language and we're inventing our own version of it. I think that concludes my presentation. I'd like to say that we feel that our proposed addition has a certain elegant simplicity, complementary yet differential to the existing theater. The simple massing reflects the iconic strength of the historic Libero, boldly conceived by George Washington Smith and Luda Marie Riggs. We look forward to your thoughtful input.
All right, thank you.
If I may, I would like to give a full 2 minutes to Mary Ann, the Executive Director for the Libero.
Okay, yeah,
I'll leave it
right,
quick.
yeah.
My board member, Brett Hodges, could not be here, but he sent a little note. For more than a century, the Libero has stood as a pinnacle of Santa Barbara architecture. By contrast, the rear courtyard, with its many iterations of temporary tents, has never done justice to that architectural masterpiece. Design Arc's proposal is worthy of the Libero's stature and finally offers a solution that complements rather than detracts from the historic character of the building. This project certainly benefits the entire arts community and our organization, but the first priority of the Libero Theater Foundation's mission is to take care of this historic building. We love the vision of George and Luda, and we are really proud to be stewards of their iconic building. And we hope that you will agree that this project honors that vision. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So with that, why don't we open public comment for anyone in the room?
Thank you, Chair Grumbine. I do have one speaker slip for in-person public comment for Robert Brace. If you'd like to come up, you'll have 2 minutes to speak. And if anyone else would like to speak, you can fill out a speaker slip along the wall and bring it up to me, and I'll call your name after him. But you can go ahead.
I'm Robert Brace. I've been going to the Libero for 30 years. A lot of Rudolphs and Nutcrackers. And I think what was just stated just earlier, it's a beautiful building, it's a wonderful place, it's just missing some things. I mean, we need a place to meet and talk instead of hanging out and drinking beer on the road. So I've reviewed the plans and all the details. I think it's The addition adds balance to the building. You know, the building, as you see it now, it has that big tower, and then it drops off into nothing. So the additions are, and the scale are appropriate, the details are amazing, and I fully support it as a citizen of Santa Barbara.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. With that, I don't have any more speaker slips for public comment. Unless anyone would like to approach the podium, I'll move to virtual participation. But I'm not seeing any movement. If anyone online would like to speak under this item, you can raise your hand at this time. But I'm not seeing any raised hands, so I will acknowledge that we received written correspondence from Olivia Joffrey, Lori Kirby, Susan Torrey, and Brett Hodges, and give it back to you.
All right, thank you. All right, to the commission, and we will march through here, but to the commission for questions first. Any questions? Wow, good job.
I have a question.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Commissioner Butler. We got it.
I'm sorry, it's procedural. Could I ask you to go through the things that we have to comment on? You had a beautiful list at the beginning, just so we address this and nail it.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank
what
you,
are the-
Commissioner, and through the chair. So the first thing I'd ask you to comment on is the project compatibility findings, which are up on the screen, which you should be familiar with. But if these can generally be met, that's for the Planning Commission to consider. If you don't think they can be generally met, then the project should return for another concept review before heading to Planning Commission. The next would be the height findings, and this is because the addition is proposed at 46 feet, which is allowed for community benefit projects, with Planning Commission making these findings on the screen. So if you could comment on all of those besides C, because that has to do with residential units, so A, B, and C, or sorry, A, B, and D, if you think generally, if Planning Commission could make those. And then lastly is story poles, if you would like to see story poles, or if those could be waived.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Commissioner Lodge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At the previous presentation, you had an arched window, and I wondered why you went to this style for the windows on the addition.
We presented the large window previously, as you mentioned, but we had an arched top.
Right.
And so the board, and I think we felt the same way, actually, now that we look at it, felt that it competed with the large stage door entrance, which also has an arched top. And so I think it's another way to separate the distinction between the historic building and the addition. So we squared it off, made it more narrow, and hopefully that's a step in the right direction.
Any other questions?
And how much over the height limit is it?
1 foot,
1 foot, okay. I thought that was it. Okay.
12 inches.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Commissioner Ensberg, do you want to start us off with comments?
I would love to. I would love to start us off with comments. And I want to thank the applicants for a beautiful presentation, and I would just say this is absolutely a home run. I thank you. I so appreciate everything that you listened very, very carefully to everything we said. It was a collaboration, and I think that's what we're here for, is working with skilled designers who appreciate the comments both ways. And I think that you have, I could go into each one of these things, but I think you have absolutely addressed all of them in a beautiful way. And, we had talked about the whole, looking at this elevation here and to the issue of the arch and how we wanted to really emphasize that elevation and that side entrance. It works perfectly, and I appreciate the fact that you've kept that wall blank to, everything you've said, I think works exactly right. And I think I'm especially impressed with how I realized, when you would be coming down Anacapa Street, the size and scale of this and how it's been designed, it almost blends into the balance going up the street of other buildings. So it doesn't look like necessarily an addition, it's just a continuation of the downtown. So I think that it's very successful. I appreciate the, the simplicity of the upper deck. That before it was much more apparent from below. Now it's just very quiet. Yeah, I mean, I'll let others speak to it. Oh, one other thing I do want to, on the elevation that is to the west elevation, that cute little door that says artist entrance?
The March Dunlop door, or no?
Well, it has a little stair, and maybe it's not there anymore, but it says artist entrance.
Yeah.
Is that,
I think that's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore.
No, it's still
Is
there.
it still there? I just love that. And we, years ago, when we were doing Kids Draw Architecture over there, we have a great drawing that was done as artist entrance. Go that way.
That
Anyway.
will not be touched, it's not part of the project.
Yeah, anyway, so.
You should say like everyone else that way.
Yeah, and this is really nice, the way you've repositioned, the entrance, which we talked about, and coming from the parking lot. And, yeah, I just think it's excellent, and I fully support it, and I would be happy to make the motion if that's what you would like.
All right. Commissioner Lodge.
Thank you.
I'm fully supportive of having this addition and the need for it. However, I have a little problem with the windows. They look a little bit too much like industrial or factory windows to me. And I'm wondering if there's some way you could make them a little less so.
All right. Commissioner Lednick?
Great project. I think it's really, really interesting. And, when you drive down Anacapa Street, and you've got the bank building in front of it, you're never going to see most of this. I mean, it's just blending into the streetscape. It kind of works so nicely. And of course, the trees and planting that's there now also help. And I'm sure you're going to end up with the same thing. I probably am not as enamored with your decision to put in a softer molding at the top of the wall. I think that what we have on the existing building now are several kinds of moldings. One on the fly is really huge and beautiful, and then the one around the main portion of the building, those aren't dentals below it, but there's something there. And I'm just saying, there's no reason why, I'm wondering why there isn't the same kind of attention or explosion of the cornice on this new portion. I would agree, the smaller stuff, the stuff tacked on, no cornice or round cornice, but I just see that as being something that would, I think, add to the character of this addition and tie it in more. The chimney that we see in this elevation as well, granted it's way back, but I'm wondering, is that a design that Luta or George Washington Smith would have suggested for that chimney? And I don't know that it is. I'm not sure what it would be, but this is maybe a little bit Mahan? Not Bill Mahan, but yeah, okay. And I'm just wondering if that couldn't maybe have some thought and maybe go up with a different little chimney. It's got to be there. And then I agree with Mayor Lodge, particularly back on that Anacapa Street elevation. If you can go back there to that Anacapa Street elevation, east elevation.
East elevation.
I look at and zoom in on that elevation a little more. I look at the two windows that are stacked there, and I wonder if the proportion of those windows to the wall is good, as if maybe more plaster, smaller windows. I agree with you that they're spectacular from the standpoint of what you have on the inside and the views towards the mountains or whatever, but I'm just wondering if the proportions that are there of that of the white wall to the windows is not uncomfortable. And I would, all of my comments, I would appreciate suggestions or rebuttals from other.
I'm sure you'll get them.
That's my comment. It's
All right.
It's great. Fantastic.
Vice Chair Willie.
And the thing about design review in Santa Barbara, particularly the historic landmarks review, is that every project that comes out with an approval and is built seems a little better than the first time it came and we saw it. And I'm looking for that as well here. I mean, you're going to detail it and it's going to work out perfectly. You know, the doorknobs, the keyholes, whatever, are going to come together and you're going to walk by and touch that thing and it really feels good.
All right, Vice Chair Willie.
Mr. Chair, can I
Yes.
speak to just those two comments about the windows
Okay,
specifically?
sure.
And the molding. We had discussed the molding at the last meeting, that we wanted to avoid it being matchy-matchy with the original, so that's why we kind of steered away from the molding being added to the addition. And for the windows, I think that the drawings make it look a little harsher than it will look because we are suggesting that it is a metal clad with wood. So it is going to be a lot softer in appearance than it looks in the drawings, which the drawings are just a little bit misleading. So it will soften up the appearance once it actually is wood because we're kind of drawing the inspiration from the Spanish, like using like metal casement windows, but then softening them back down to some of the heavier wood finishes that they used in the theaters. And we were kind of drawing inspiration from the other windows that are at the theater presently to kind of inspire the windows. So we kind of didn't go for industrial. That's just where we drew the inspiration from what was currently on the building to get there. So I just wanted to kind of explain where that all came from and our rationale.
If the discussion is about the muntins of the windows and the curve of a molding, and we're at this stage in the review, it's doing great. All right, Vice Chair Uli.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I just want to express my appreciation that that you took comments seriously from our first review and gave them serious consideration, and that changed some of what you've expressed, and also the support of your client sitting behind you to go down that road. So I really appreciate that. I'm going to disagree slightly with the other commissioners, so this is where you're getting your rebuttal that you were looking for. I don't think that it is appropriate for your work to take on the scale of the details of the original building. It is, as you said, in deference to it, it is sympathetic to the original building, but it should not copy the original building or even suggest you copied it. Because what I think, in my opinion, what happens is it detracts from the value of the original theater. Clearly, the subtlety of your detailing is going to get worked out as you you continue to let the coffee perk, you know. So in general, I like what you've done. Appreciate the fact that you've pulled the building in away from the street.
That was a big deal.
And away from the main plane of the existing facade. I think that helped you immensely. It reads really well. This is a building, I don't care who you talk to in this town, this is a building everybody loves, and they don't know why they love it. Maybe they've never been there, maybe they've gone for 40 years, it doesn't matter. It's a building that everybody loves, and you can see from blocks away. And so whatever you do to this building is going to be everybody's business. So I like the direction you've taken. We happen to be fortunate to live in a community that is Cultural Institute aware and supportive. And so I would encourage you to put the basement back, because I believe the community will respond and help fund it. Clearly, the space is required for the kind of operation that a theater is. And even if it's an unimproved basement that is done and approved and ready to be used, it will get used as the theater expands its own program offerings. So I would encourage that to happen. I'm totally supportive of that idea. I like how you've taken the existing scene building and just kind of left it alone for the most part. To the degree that you don't need that because you have a basement, that would be even better, because I think that would open up that corner really well and enhance that paseo coming through. But that's not in front of us now, just a comment. I don't have any issues with your rectilinear windows on any of the elevations. You know, if you look at George Washington Smith's house, I think it's on Middle Road, the north side of the building have huge windows in them.
Studio.
You know, studio windows. It brings in this wonderful north light or light from other directions, and it really enhances the inside space without much real compromise on the outside of the building. They feel comfortable to me. So I really like the direction. I appreciate the fact that you've respected the top 3 or 3.5 or 4 stories of the fly tower, because I think that's the iconic thing that you see from almost anywhere you're standing within 5 blocks. And respecting that tower, I think, is to your benefit. So, and overall, I'm really supportive of the direction you're taking, and I think we can work out, as the chair said, if we're talking about subtleties of details, then you're already 9 miles ahead of everybody else. So I like it, and I like the fact you've respected the historic building as well as you have.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Jordan?
I have a series of comments. I went back in preparation for this meeting and looked at my notes from the last time it was here. And a note I had made to myself was that there wasn't enough information in the drawings for us to reach some conclusions. And I want to say that this set is very informative. It answered the questions I had after the last one. So I'm very supportive of this project. In terms of things we were asked to comment on, the height at 46 feet, given the height of the fly tower, I have no trouble with adding the height proposed. In terms of story poles, I don't feel a need for story poles. I think the massing models on your A501 sheet are, again, very informative. Touching an iconic building like this is always challenging. And one of the things you don't want to do is damage what's there. And I think that you've found a way to preserve the very powerful, blunt massing of the building when you see it from the south and the east, and that's important. The other thing that you've managed to preserve, and I was concerned about after the previous meeting, was the detail of the great door at the loading dock and the moldings there. The Spanish Colonial Revival, one of its qualities is it's very humanly scaled, and really wonderful attention to human scale. This building is a step away from that. And when I've taken visiting architecture students here, and we look at the giant scale, you're just dwarfed by that door and the moldings. And it's one of the exciting architectural parts here in Santa Barbara. And I know I might be making a comment about how dull my life is, but it's actually a very exciting moment in the building.
That's not what I hear.
It's okay, you're in a safe space.
I think that you've set a theme which was to be deferential and yet distinguish your piece, and I think you've accomplished that. So I'm very supportive of the building. The last thing I'll say is, I actually think views of the mountains, which is one of the items that comes up, with your addition, you've actually enhanced that for members of the community who will use that space. So again, I'm very supportive of what I'm seeing here.
Great. Mr. Butler?
Real quick, just very quick, a very, very compelling design regarding A, B, and D. The height finding, I think, is appropriate. Normal story poles are our default, so I would say no. We don't need story poles. Yeah, the Lobero is sacred to the EPV, so I did have a question. Will you be getting a smaller American flag to hang on the back? Because that's my birthday.
A narrower one, right. We'll redesign it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very compelling. It's excellent job.
All right. And
Mr.
then,
Chair, before you get going, I wanted to chime in on those three things staff asked us. I don't have any issues with the various findings we'll have to make. I think they're all supportable. Don't have an issue with going a foot over the limit, as Commissioner Butler said and Jordan said. We're already next to a building that goes over the limit, so an extra foot, it certainly isn't going to hurt anybody. On story poles, yes, story poles are our default, and normally we consider waiving them because we get material and exhibits that help us understand the massing. But generally, these things, unless the community is paying attention and reading these things, generally they don't see what we see, because they don't watch or they don't pay attention. So I would suggest in this case that story poles do go up because it's such an iconic building and such an impact that we don't want anybody to be surprised that they weren't paying attention.
all right. And actually, let's talk about those items. I'm just going to assume, unless anyone says otherwise, that project compatibility findings are met, can be met based on the mass scale, et cetera, all of our things. The height finding of an additional 1 foot, I'm assuming that everyone's okay with that, especially considering how large the building is adjacent to it and the community benefit. So the story poles is sort of the last one. And as Vice Chair Uli said, our default is story poles, and we usually have two kind of reasons for story that are part of story poles, which is both our own understanding of how big this thing is in real space, and then also the public notice aspect of it and awareness aspect. My own, and others have weighed on not needing story poles. My own thought on the being able to judge the size of the design without story poles is, I think that, because some of our other possibilities are 3D renderings for it or video or other things to convince us that this is not going to have a massive impact height-wise and that. And I think the renderings you've given are adequate for, in my mind, this is just me, answering that question in terms of the massing and scale and size of this thing. And so I would be fine with it and support not. The other part is the public aspect. And well, I can agree with you, Vice Chair Uli, that it would be visually helpful because then people would know something's going on. The public that is, and it is iconic, I wonder if there's other ways of either a huge, sign banner kind of thing, fencing size stuff that everyone can go, oh yeah, that's what's going to happen to the Libero, as opposed to story poles for whatever, a week or two, where people see it and that questions it, but you don't have a bunch of neighbors or streets that are being blocked of views in a way that a lot of the other concerns of like, oh my gosh, there's this massive thing going up and everyone should be aware of it. Instead, it's like a parking lot and improvement of some of those views, and it's not like it's going to strongly impact the neighbors in a negative way potentially, or what they might perceive as a negative. So, and it is an extra cost. And for the community benefit side of things, I think if there is another alternate way of notifying the public, I'd be up for it.
So you're suggesting a huge banner that's hanging off the fly
There we
that
go.
says future edition with an arrow or something?
Coming to a theater near you. Right near you. All right, Commissioner Ansberg.
Yeah, if I could just make a comment on that. I agree with everything you said, the compatibility, the height. The story poles, I usually am in support of them, but I think in this case, as you have said, I appreciate what Commissioner Uli has said, and of course, you know, how important this building is and being sure that people understand. But usually the story poles is if we're going way bigger, you know, where there's some more massive impact. And I think that I also am extremely sensitive to the cost of this entire project and what they're dealing with here. So I think that it can be done in another way to help people understand this. So I would be more supportive of doing that and not having to have story poles. And then I also wanted to say, with respect to the basement, kind of the comment that Commissioner Uli brought up, I guess we don't see it. So, you know, I would leave that completely up to the Libera if they felt like they wanted to do that, fine. But, you know, again, I'm sure you've got a lot of budgetary concerns. And so whatever works for everything that you're trying to bring together, I would be in support of.
All right.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just a quick comment. In terms of story poles, yes or no, I think it's in the best interests of the theater in terms of building community support and in terms of raising money and all kinds of things, to be very clear in its presentation of materials in various media, what's being proposed. And so story poles are a way to alert a community that might not otherwise be alerted. But I think it's up to the theater to be telling the community, we're growing, we need your money. Here's what's going to happen, you know? Yeah.
Sure.
This summer.
Oh, yeah, come up to the mic.
This summer, we certainly will be doing a public campaign.
Yeah.
For fundraising purposes and just to let the community know what's happening. So, you know, we'll make a big splash in the Independent. There will be a lot of information, and these plans will not be a secret to anybody.
Can I add
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner.
as a former advertising guy, you have a natural billboard. You have the renderings. All you need to do is project those up there in ARC, and you have it. And that should be a low-cost, high awareness-creating public display of coming soon. Anyway, I'll stop there.
Do you have a pool with the signs department?
No, you
Could
don't
work
need
that.
to project.
To project, you actually.
Yeah,
can-
you're going to project them.
You own the building.
You don't, yeah, just
So you gotta do is
project.
talk to the bank across the street
You
or
don't
wherever.
have to paint it. Take these images, project them up onto the back where the flag hangs, rotate them in, and you will create.
You even get marketing technique here for
media
HLC.
coverage.
My marketing director is listening right now.
Free
News Hawk
advice.
will be there, the Independent will be
And
there.
and then if you really want to get people to notice, make story poles that are like twice as high as
There you
then everyone will come and look, and then you can just get them to. Just kidding.
Environment makers, Jonathan, that's his
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, what is
This
We're gonna bring it back.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
two ideas. One is we work super hard with the hip roof and the height of that to bury the elevator. We did not want to see an elevator tower. Recently, we looked into the elevator and it's like a foot taller than we wanted it to be. I mean, would it kill everybody if we had an extra foot to the height just because of the elevator? I
Okay,
think
so
we do not want to see another tower sticking up, and that was a big push on our behalf, was to bury
okay,
that.
so I think that could be part of the height commentary on the findings that it could, and we would be supportive of another foot.
The other
more
thing
than-
I
or so more
wanted
than-
to bring up is that, and I know it's been an issue with us in value engineering and everything, is that we understand that we propose to handle the stormwater for our project, which is essentially a third of the size of the Libero. Years ago, Melissa can double down on this, the Libero went through an extensive stormwater revision on the front of the building where they redid the stairs. Oh my God, who knows how much money that cost. City Creeks is suggesting that we now need to bring the whole thing up to current codes, including the front of the building, And we think that's a mistake. It's beautiful as is. We'll be happy to handle our own stormwater issues, but to combine us into bringing up the rest of the building to code seems excessive. And not only that, it's super expensive and crazy because we'd
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah,
Draw a property line.
yeah, I know. But we need your support.
We talked about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The challenge here is that, some significant improvements in infrastructure were built in 2013-14, so not that long ago, including the Esplanade work, the walkways, the biofiltration planters, the bioswales. And what we're being asked, unfortunately, is very challenging to accomplish and very expensive, and would do a lot of destruction of site work to have to intercept any stormwater. So there is a request. We weren't going to necessarily bring it up, but now that it's out, I might as well lean into it a little bit. We did put in a request for a waiver from in our planning application to the Creeks Division, and asked for an exemption that the historic landmark be excluded from the stormwater runoff. And that, like Mark said, we are, however, not asking to be grandfathered in, but with the addition, would be treating the addition only, and it would be a fraction of the cost. There's still some engineering involved to do that, it's not free. But our concerns are that we would potentially be impacting the foundations of the theater, having stormwater detention chambers so close to the foundations of the basement. We would be pumping water essentially upstream into a detention basin that would be 85 feet long. It is really a huge task and a huge risk that most geotech engineers and civil engineers sitting behind me here who can attest to that, it would be a risk that none of us would want to take on, certainly not this commission. We want to preserve the historic landmark. We may end up having to fight this battle a little further down the road to get this exemption, this waiver, with what we would consider otherwise an infeasibility study on this stormwater. And if you want to speak to that, you can. If I get some nodding heads, I know it's not in your purview. You probably don't. I'm sure staff will step in and say you shouldn't, but we talk about other things always that are not in the purview.
All right, I think
get the
there
point.
might be something that we can throw in on that, just in terms of using the historic building code and preserving a landmark.
And Chair Grumbine, if I may, the commission is welcome to include a comment in their motion, but ultimately it will be worked
Yeah.
out with the Creeks Division.
For sure, yep.
We understand.
That sounds good. Okay, so, I would want to actually move us to a motion here.
I just want to make one more comment, if I may,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, regarding the cornice. If you drive down Canapatito going west and look at the Bank of America building, right on the corner of State and Canapatito, it's a relatively blasé building, but it's got a beautiful cornice on it. And that building would
Probably
even,
its only redeeming feature.
the building would be so much worse if it did not have that finish on it up there. And I really feel that you're not compromising the original design of Luta and Smith by getting a cornice on top of the wall, which
A little more volume.
a little stop of the eye, whatever.
So, and actually, I didn't actually get a chance to make comments, and I did have a comment.
I'm done now.
Yeah,
Thank
okay,
you.
great. So I'll wrap it up with my comments, and I'll try to summarize and see if we can get a motion. So that was one of the few things that I was going to, or the windows, and then the cornice was one of the few things I was going to jump into in terms of throw my 2 cents in as well. So, and maybe with an alternate option that's related. So it was very fascinating, as Commissioner Jordan was talking about, in terms of looking at even the moldings of the base of the tower, the fly tower, those are proportioned to the overall tower, right? So as a base, and even upsized a little bit too, and compared to the cornice and some of its refinements, which almost gives it a even taller feel, because the cornice feels like it's super, which is one of the methods for playing with proportions, and which has been done for a long time. So it's very fascinating that they did that in that way. I do think that this is a key critical part of your refinements, and I think that it would be very helpful to have, and this ties to the windows too, to have a lot of your precedent examples of what's existing on the building, as well as what you might be looking at for another studio of George Washington Smith, and others is Meridian Studios, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where they're going
Yeah, for
north,
sure.
and they're doing the big, but they're doing that steel. But looking at various precedents and including the building itself, obviously, and tying whether that's the size of the lights or proportions or window wall ratios, kind of pulling all those things together, and as you're refining these elements in design, and the moldings in a similar way where, you know, you've got these crenellation ones, super complex. Maybe you don't have to do as complex, but maybe it's the same size, or maybe you pull out some of those proportions and you repeat the proportions, but you don't repeat the actual molding profiles, or things like that, where you're playing with and it's part of, but it's also, you know, it is a little bit less, right? A little
It's
bit.
less,
It's
yeah.
still playing back sort of the, you know, secondary role and the backup actor and backup, you know, roles. So, yeah, so I would say I would sort of add to that conversation with those as you continue your refinements for both the windows and for the moldings. And then
Supernumerate detailing.
yes. And then the only other comment I wanted to add is, can you go to the back elevation? And just the thought of, as you're studying these proportions, the division between if you can zoom into the three triple windows, yeah. So the plaster between, which is like a pilaster almost that you've abbreviated with the simplified capital, maybe look at, they seem a little skinny, and maybe look at how the proportions of, when you think about the rest of the building, you know, you have some piers that were done later that are square, but then you have the round columns in the front that are arched. And I'm just curious as to the plaster to opening ratios, because it's such a
Almost
massive
like a
building.
column.
Yeah, and maybe it needs to beef up a little bit or something, but just to.
Break in between.
The break in between, yeah, that plaster, it looks a little skinny compared to what I think the rest of the building is. The rest of the building is pretty massive. Yeah, and even the front columns, those Tuscan columns with the arches, they're pretty stocky too.
solid,
Yeah, so just study that as you're looking at the windows and these ones in particular, your plaster divisions.
Chair,
Commissioner
if
Ensmer.
I could just add on to that, do you agree, though, I mean, that they should be still simple, like we see here,
Yeah,
but maybe
yeah.
just a little
It might be
wider?
the proportions are a little
not
wider
Not
and then-
more
Yeah.
intricate, but,
Yeah.
you know,
No,
I
no, no.
appreciate
It's
this
just-
sort of simplicity of it and how it differentiates from the
Yeah.
main building. That's what I appreciate about this so much, but I do see what you're saying, that maybe it could be a little wider.
And it's not as so much as easy as just add, you know, 6 inches on each of them, because then you're actually pushing the windows, and so it's a whole study, that what maybe you do just push the windows, or maybe you actually simplify the windows or change the proportions, whatever. So, but yeah, I don't think the detail-wise needs to increase quite to the level of the main building, so.
Not to be like a column with a capital or
Yeah,
some
exactly.
thing,
Although
just
you have,
simple.
I think you have composite columns in the interior, and you've got Tuscan on the exterior, so maybe this is just an ionic thing. But
Just
anyway,
chamfered corners.
or just simplified to something like that.
The columns are cool,
Yeah.
yeah. The ones that display.
But yeah, so I think as you go forward with these details, it'd be really nice to have the existing as-built and looking at, in comparison in scale, because it's also another very interesting about this building. It changes scale so much depending on the portion of the building that was originally addressed. So it would be good to like visually kind of compare, especially things that are next to each other.
Yeah.
So, okay, so then let me try to give a summary of where we are with everything, and then we can go from there. So first, we want to thank the applicant and their whole team and everyone involved for this wonderful presentation and great development of the project, and we really appreciate how you've listened to our comments and taken into consideration as you've developed this project more. And sometimes a little value engineering can actually be helpful. You shrank a little bit. So, so, and then for, in general, the project compatibility findings have been met, and the commission is also in support of the increase, the findings for the height increase past 45 feet, and are acceptable even 47 or somewhere close to that for, to get the elevator to work and other things. And the story poles, in general, I heard that the favor for not doing the story poles. Not necessary. Okay. All right. So story poles are not going to be required, and the renderings were sufficient for the three-dimensional renderings, and and additional studies were sufficient for convincing the commission that they are not needed. And for the community engagement, we strongly encourage and know that you all are working on getting the community thoroughly engaged. So we support those efforts and getting that word out there of what the project is. The elevations, to continue to refine the elevations with including the moldings and studying the continue to study existing proportions and precedent of the existing building, as well as other George Washington Smith and Luda designs, and to bring it back to the commission with your as you come for the next review with some of those studies, including drawings of the same scale. The windows, to continue to study the windows with refinements, and I'm just going to leave it at that because we did mention the factory aspect, but I think we need more information more detail and more precedents and more examples of what you're looking at. We're looking at, I think at this scale, these drawings, they could look too factory-like, but you've heard all our comments, so just come back with a lot of the existing windows and showing where you're pulling your precedent and studies from, as well as other inspirations that you're looking at, as well as the actual specs and things like that, so that we can understand more fully what is being proposed. The additional minor elements, such as the chimney of the fireplace and entry door, we know we'll continue to refine as well. So continue to refine and bring back for review. And we strongly appreciate the new massing as well, and the massing solutions that have been very well done. The suggestion also of, if there is any way that would be able to now, and I guess I don't know how, and there's lots of ways to do it, and there are obviously maybe some complexity, but it's not the end of the world to, at least in the planning side of things, get approval for more and then pare back. That might be a strategy for the basement. Who knows, you might attract someone that is willing to pay for the whole basement, and if you have it past planning approval, you can always minimize and go down. Now, obviously, it gets an effect of their systems and things like that too, but just as a suggestion to the applicant to look at that, and that we would be supportive of it.
Yeah, losing the basement was a huge value engineering effort on our behalf with Staples Construction, and the board felt it was necessary at the time, but we'll absolutely keep the door open if there's a donor that happens to come by and wants more space.
Yeah, and it might be easy enough to have it in your planning package now, get through the whole process, and then make the call before you go into building, whether you actually keep the basement or not.
Optional.
And, but because at least your square footage and everything else will have been approved. So anyways, just as a recommendation, not as a requirement in any way.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
on the planning packet situation, do you feel that the design is far enough along that we can do the Phase 2 report, that we are at compatibility findings where we can actually move forward with the Phase 2 at this point, or should we?
It probably wants to get refined this last time, so that even details and things like that can be officially signed off. But it probably is close enough that,
Well, pardon
for
my
PDA.
interruption, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so if you feel that the project is ready for PDA, you should also feel that it's ready for a Phase 2 HSSR, or a Phase 2 Historic Resource Report, because you'll need to approve that report for it to receive PDA.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, just a point of clarification. In order for this project to go to Planning Commission, which is where we're really eager to go, given the vote of confidence we've gotten today on the design revisions we've made, a Phase 2 report must be submitted to planning staff.
Okay, great.
And that is, we understand on the design team side and our historian that there's still some work to be done on the refinements of the details. We knew that we were not going to address every single details today. But I think that what I'm hearing collectively is that the mass size bulk scale, the general fenestration locations, general details, not defined, refined details, but are moving in the right direction. The mansard roof is something I think you all appreciated. The elimination of the third story on the scene shop.
Yep.
That was well appreciated. The
So,
way,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. So to make it short, yes, let's say that we're,
Do a
because I
draft
think
and
that.
revise if we need to.
Yeah,
Correct.
and I think, obviously, it'll come to us for approval, but considering we're saying that project compatibility findings and for planning commission aspect, we're saying that we can accept them, then that'll be the findings that we have to make anyways for
Thank you.
feedback.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great. All right, and then we talked about the basement. And then the last piece would be, and I also had on there to, the point to make sure we add it too, though. We appreciate the removing of the third level and the reworking of the whole Paseo area. All those solutions were very much appreciated and well done.
Thank you.
And then the final one was, we also want to, I think we can, as the Historic Landmarks Commission, at least emphasize the importance of this very large, tall landmark theater. And we really, if there is anything that can be done on the building department side to ensure that this is not going to be compromised in any way, given its historic structure, that we would appreciate all help in that area from the building department side of things, and the use of the historic building code for our landmark, which allows for exceptions for lots of stuff. So,
And Chair, is it specifically related to stormwater management?
yes, and specifically related, well, stormwater management and the yeah, and anything else too, but yes,
Okay.
stormwater management and any other things that might come up that would jeopardize this landmark, could potentially jeopardize the landmark.
Mr. Chair?
All right, yes.
Excellent review of the points, but I wanted to add just one thing for the commission to consider, and that is the design team said that the east wall of the addition was purposely left blank. But I definitely wanted to suggest that if you want to put a grill on that wall, or you want to do some other detail, because it makes sense,
Yes.
that you should feel comfortable to
We
do
do
that.
actually have two offices. You can't see it in the elevations, but we have grill windows down low for the two offices that are there. So, yes, I get it. Well,
Okay,
there's some
details. That's a
Good
good
point.
comment.
Because we can't see that, we can't see them on
Yeah, I
the
can't see it,
elevations, but
Yeah, and so let's add that to the elevation development or findings, or refinements that you also
Makes
look at
sense.
if it looks better and is an improvement, to look at some other
And
fenestration.
To that point, very similar, we see this on the Baylor building. There's some
Yeah.
beautiful little grills with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But that's more of
I love that.
a beautiful little detail. It doesn't really, it's not impacting the overall concept of the
That's right,
large
and I
wall.
think that's part of our refinements of elevations direction.
we just don't want it to come back and then all of a sudden we've got grills on the window and somebody said, well, you didn't talk about that when you were in concept, so, you know.
Yeah, no, totally. Okay,
One other, or two other tiny things, is about the landscape. I don't know if we really mentioned the landscape, but that also ties
yeah.
into that
That's a good
solid
point.
wall and how they shrunk it back, and now they
so
have
in,
the olive
and so in
trees.
general as well, I think the summary is we're very in favor with the landscape
Yes.
design and directions.
Yes.
Yeah, supportive of where.
The pepper tree and the olives marching along there is very appropriate and beautiful in front of that wall. And then the last thing I wanted to say about the Paseo, which I really appreciate how it has been dealt with, and we did talk about this a lot the last time, is, Paseos are, these little mysterious places that are kind of for discovery. So, and I think you've done a really good job of kind of opening it up and making it be clear. And so I just would like to, that you continue to study that, and maybe through signage or whatever might happen coming along, to make it be something that does pull people in and want them to kind of explore what might be there.
Okay, so I
Definitely
think
need to
just.
do the hand-painted.
The
signage.
artist this way.
And so I guess the note for that would be to continue to study and refine the Paseo experience. Okay. Great.
Do you want to, are you ready for
Well,
a motion?
You had asked originally, so I'll let it go to you first for.
I can try. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would be honored to make a motion to approve, are we going for PDA?
Indefinite continuance.
Okay, indefinite continuance
To the
for
Planning
the,
Commission.
to the Planning Commission for the Libero Theater at 33 East Cannon Perdita Street, as presented and with the comments that have been made. Is that enough? And then do we have to go through the list?
I think that's enough, because as long as staff.
With the-
Yes,
with the
continue indefinitely
findings?
to the planning commission is sufficient with those
Okay.
comments.
Second.
Okay, you mean I don't have to go through the whole list?
No, you don't.
Gee, I was looking forward to that.
Not yet.
I have one thing that I want to say, we were prepared to talk about landscape because one of our landscape potential consultants had done an outline of the existing plants and how we're going to accentuate that. I don't know if you want to have that, or we can come back.
Next time, I think it's good. You've got it as a thumbs up right now,
Okay.
and then we'll get into those as refinements too, so.
Otherwise, we won't have anything to talk about next time.
And your conceptual plans are on your elevations anyway, so.
Yes, there they are. Yeah.
So we have a
motion
first and
and
a
a second.
second, and so under discussion. Any other further discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Thank you. I'll begin with Commissioner Ensberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvik,
Yes.
Commissioner Lodge,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes?
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Vice Chair Uli,
Yes.
and Chair Grumbine.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
For your time.
Onward,
guys.
good,
Thank
great
you for your
work. All right.
advice
All right,
and,
and so with that,
it's all
the
good.
meeting is
Thanks,
adjourned.
Robert.
All right.